All right, let's talk about 19146, zip code Philadelphia. So there are several pockets, one of them being Devil's Pocket, hint, hint. There are several pockets in this zip code that I'd like to talk about. Now, we're going to kind of make a circle there, and you can see it's not exactly quite a square, but that's where we got it from today. All right, so let's get started. So Forgotten Bottom. Now, Forgotten Bottom is actually one of the most booming areas right now. That, along with Devil's Pocket and Gray's Ferry. Now, some people would say that Forgotten Bottom is in Gray's Ferry, but I'm going to kind of call them two different things, although it's not a massive location. But nonetheless, Forgotten Bottom at this moment is booming, and it's literally happening now, and there was really no way to tell, and right now you may be missing the boat, or you might have missed the boat, depending on when you watch this video. But it's a great gentrified being type area, super spot, 19146. It is on the west coast, on the west side. And if you're looking at the map, and you can see it's right along the river. Now, what biggest point that has helped us here is there's that bridge. It's a walking bridge that has now been constructed, and recently, I guess about a year ago, we're talking 2022 right now, so about a year ago in towards the middle of 2021. So the project is called the Schuylkill Crossing, hence they want to bring together walking and driving to be able to make it more walkable. I mean, it's a simple area. So that, along with the push from 19145 and the push through 19146, it's inevitably the movement, the improvement, I should say, of this area, just pushing into Forgotten Bottom. That's what's happening here. So the bridge is connecting the Schuylkill River Trail, which it's connecting to the north and the west. It's West Philadelphia, but it's the southern part of it. So talking about innovation, we're talking about Pennovation now. Pennovation is also in Forgotten Bottom. So the Pennovation Works is actually what it's called. It's the big anchor there. The big elephant is the Pennovation Center. So it's an office building. I mean, in the quick way to describe it, but it's got laboratories in there. It has some of the most advanced scientific aspects to a building, and it's nothing. There is nothing like it of its kind in and around the city, or especially in this area. It brings together businesses and researchers and developing and laboratories, and it's just a wonderful way to bring together creative spaces and co-working areas for businesses and for entrepreneurs alike. There's a cafe, there's meeting rooms, there's kind of a co-working, sort of like a lobby area that you can co-work in as well. We got some great public transportation in this area. Thank you, SEPTA. Check out our SEPTA video too. So there is a ton of projects going on in Forgotten Bottom, tons of tax abatements happening there too. There is a lot of blighted properties, places that need a lot of work. There's also vacant lots, but they're really improving the area, but they're also, fencing in the vacant lots. They're cleaning them up. And they being investors, but they also being us, the great folks of the city of Philadelphia, including the folks that work with the city and work for the city. You got new construction going on. Now, there's only a few hundred homes technically in Forgotten Bottom, but you got a lot of just places that have been sitting vacant for years that are now being improved. So the average price point in this area is probably between $200,000 and $300,000. You can certainly get places for less. There's something available right now for $150,000. It's not a complete disaster. It doesn't need a lot of work, but it's grandma's house. And no offense to grandma, but if you could imagine, it's kind of dated inside. It needs cosmetic work, but it doesn't need a ton of repairs and maintenance because, grandma always takes good care of her house. She just really likes it when it looks like it's from the 80s. But if you kind of see my point now, last year, about a year ago, the average price was maybe 10% less. So it has come up greatly in the last 10 years, and it has come up even greater in the last 5 years if you look at kind of the history there. So, all right, let's talk about Gray's Ferry, because Gray's Ferry, or Forgotten Bottom, is part of Gray's Ferry, and Gray's Ferry is pretty much right there. If you're coming a little bit east, my opinion, checking out our map, remember, I'm blaming someone else. It's not my fault. I don't agree. I have someone to blame, and it's Google's fault. No, I'm just kidding. But we're working our way through and around 19146. So Gray's Ferry is in the waterfront. I mean, it's right on the Schuylkill River. It's right on the waterfront, and it's in the industrial area there, and it's isolated. It's almost like a peninsula. Thank you, my history teacher from 4th grade, Mr. O'Donnell. It's surrounded by water on 3 sides, okay? So that's the whole point of saying it's isolated, but it's a pretty cool looking spot. You can kind of see it there if you take a look at our map. So even though it's remote, even though it's really compact, it's a great place and location to get to University City. UPenn. You can see just over the river what we're trying to do here. Of course it's we, it's us. We're all in this together. We're trying to connect the rest of the city to this part of the city as well. To have smooth transgression from University City over the Schuylkill, in Forgotten Bottom, and through Grace Ferry, and now you're getting further down. So Grace Ferry's housing has probably seen, again, generally now in this area, has seen the biggest trends in the last year. I mean, the biggest boom, if you will. It's up 11%. Median housing going to be in and around that $250,000 price point. Get a great place for like $275,000 in this area. Super walkable, super fun, super quiet. Down by the river, you like to go fishing. This is your spot. You like the city life, but you also like to fish. Hit me up, we'll drown some worms together. No offense, worms. All right, we're making our way around the circle as best we can in 19146. Next up is Devil's Pocket. Now, I love Devil's Pocket. First of all, because it's called Devil's Pocket. Okay, it's only a few square blocks. Now, some people might say it's 2, some people might say it's 3. Look, it's like a pocket if you looked at it. That's how it got its name. Now, some people would say that the Irish priests back in the day said that the kids were so bad there that they would steal a chain out of the Devil's Pocket. Look, there might be partially truths to both of it. Devil's Pocket's got some great Thai food. You also got Devil's Spirits. Pretty much a ton of row homes, but you have the new part of CHOP. Now, CHOP is Children's Hospital of Philadelphia. There's a research center that was put in there. So it's bringing around more innovation right to these 3 areas, pretty much that Grace Ferry area, also Forgotten Bottom and Devil's Pocket. So now, if you know anything about this area, you got the Naval Square. So Naval Square is super popular, its own little community. I mean, it's like it's its own little neighborhood, its own little city within the city. Now, this sits in the pocket. Houses are super hot in this area. The average house stays on the market about 3 weeks, and that's pretty good in the Philadelphia area. Even in our low inventory hot marketplace, most of the properties do sell for right in and around the asking price, give or take within 2% of asking, depending on how much the work needs, and as you can imagine. All right, so coming around now, we're heading towards the southern, is that how you say southern? The southern part of 19146. We got Pointe Breeze. So we're coming around the bottom. Now, Pointe Breeze, I guess right around Tasker Avenue. Now, on the map that we were using, Tasker is the cutoff point, and that's pretty good depiction because right on the other side of Tasker is 19145, but that's for another video. So we got Pointe Breeze. Now, Pointe Breeze has had decades of intentional effort to improve this area. And I want to mention Dorothy Allen. Now, she's got a really cool center named after her, and there's a section of Pointe Breeze, but it's not in 19146. But I want to mention her. You know, it's people like her, people like the great citizens of the city of Philadelphia that make our city grand. So Pointe Breeze is really walkable. It's really young and hip. It's in the top 3rd of places to live for young professionals. It's in the top 50 places to live in Philadelphia in general. You've got some like dive bars, but you've got some really cool, fun, edgy, cool places, bars to go to. You've got some great coffee shops. You got great eateries, awesome views, just a really nice neighborhood kind of a feel. A lot of people have pets there, they're walking their dogs, and it's just a super chill place to be and live, and great part of South Philadelphia, excellent part of 19146. You got a solid C rating on crime. Most of the crimes are not necessarily against you, although you're a victim of crime, you're a victim of crime, but what I mean is it's more like petty crimes, thefts, and taking of your possessions, not necessarily hurting your person as you will. Great nightlife, great for families. There's a lot of fun things to do at night, and there's a lot of places you can go and kind of have privacy and keep it quiet. Like great like neighborhood type feel. So Pointe Breeze, just like Newbold, we're going to talk about Newbold next, but Pointe Breeze is really diverse. You got probably 15,000 people living there. You got an average price point of $250,000. So great choice of housing, great bang for your buck, super walkable. It's like the best of both worlds. Great for Airbnb. Check out our Airbnb series, by the way. All right, so Newbold. Now, again, I'm including Newbold. It's really mostly 19145, but I want to talk a little bit about Newbold because it shows that push of this transgression of improvement from pretty much Queen Village, all the way across South Philadelphia, all the way up into Newbold and up and over. So there is a little portion of Newbold here in 19146, which is mostly Pointe Breeze, and they say, oh, where's Newbold? It's next to Pointe Breeze, and it is. It's the gateway into very similar to Pointe Breeze. I don't want to say, look, it's exactly like Pointe Breeze. Let's move on to the next area, but really got some great places to eat, some fun places to shop, some delicious food. You could have a different meal. You could have a different meal every day of the week for every meal for an entire week and still not be able to see everything. There's some great neighborhood spots there. A really nice local community, tight-knit group of people. So the median price point in Newbold in this area and south is like $290,000. It's definitely getting up higher in pricing. If you can see the progression or the way the prices are going, $200,000. Forgotten Bottom is coming across now, Pointe Breeze and Newbold, Pointe Breeze being $250,000. This is like $290,000. There are hundreds of cafes. I mean, this is a great spot, super popular. We got a bunch of listings there. If you want to check out some real estate, hit me up. I'll send you a list there. While you're hitting me up, why don't you hit subscribe? You can hit that bell notification. We do put a lot of videos out. So still in the 19146, coming up next, my favorite part, Graduate Hospital. So Graduate Hospital is also known as Southwest Center City, or is it Southwest Philly? Look, it's Graduate Hospital. And even though the hospital was never really in there and you didn't graduate, no, just kidding. It sort of has a funny name to it. But the hospital in this area is now run by Penn. So Graduate Hospital is the third best place to live in the city, hands down. It's one of my favorite parts of the city. The average price point of houses is right in that $400,000. So you can see we made a huge jump from Forgotten Bottom to Graduate Hospital. But we can get you somewhere in the middle. Graduate Hospital is one of the cleanest, nicest, and just greatest spots location-wise. You got walkability, you got proximity to Rittenhouse Square without the Rittenhouse Square pricing, but you got great pricing here. It's super diverse, you got super low crime, great bang for your buck, just an excellent area to put down roots, great for families, super commutable. It's also quiet but close enough to, let's say, Pointe Breeze and Newbold to go check out all that nightlife, and if you want to kind of get away and just chill out, come back home. Graduate Hospital is a part of this like 14 block, they call it the Grays Ferry Triangle. So there's the Odunde, and I hope I pronounced that right, festival. It's an African festival. It happens every year. That is some experience that you would have to see. Graduate Hospital becomes Little Africa. So we work with a lot of people that are moving to the Philadelphia area, and Graduate Hospital is one of the most popular areas that we do a lot of business in that area because it's so world renowned. It's close to Penn, it's close to Center City, it's close to Newbold, it's close to South Philadelphia, it's close to some booming areas. It really is great for investors, super for Airbnb. It's great to live in too. Well, if you are thinking of moving to the Philadelphia area, definitely want to check out our home buying guide and our home selling guide here. Grab yourself a copy. They are free, put together by yours truly, and they are shown down in the notes below. Check out this video here, Living in Philadelphia, What Are the Neighborhoods? Once again, thank you so much for checking out our channel, Living in Philadelphia, and watching this video. We'll look to see you on the next one. Have a great day, everybody.